everybody, welcome to Fusion Body Studio. Today we have a very, very special guest with us. We have Larene, who's one of our beautiful members from Fusion Body Studio. Unfortunately, we don't have Bryce with us today. She's feeling a little bit under the weather, but she'll definitely join us next time. But we are so excited to talk to you, Larene, because you've been a member with us for quite a while, haven't you? If you started quite in the beginning, you joined up.
Yes, yeah. I started back when it was Esoteric Academy still,
Yes,
and
yes.
we did I don't think you didn't have as many videos as you do now,
Yeah, it's
but
really grown, hasn't it?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it's great.
got a huge library. Yeah, so that's really exciting. So you've been with us for a long time. So we wanted to just chat to you about your journey and how you found Fusion Body Studio. But before we kind of get into how you're finding Fusion Body Studio and how it's helped you and everything, we'd just like to get some background info. So I thought we could kind of start talking about your childhood and some of the health issues that you've had and what you've gone through and how exercise has helped you. And yeah, so basically we'll kind of start there. So how are you feeling today?
I'm great. I'm so excited to do this and tell a little bit of my story. We're just getting a
Yeah.
little taste of it.
Yeah, you've got quite a journey. I was just thinking, man, you could write a book about what you've been through.
I've definitely thought about it. I've
Yeah.
been thinking about it a lot as I've journaled and stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
So.
So, all right, well, let's get started with your childhood and go from there.
Yeah. So I was raised in, I've learned in the past few years what a lot of people would consider a cult. It is a church that is very, very strict. And I don't know if I want to go into too much detail about it, but
Yeah, that's
it
fine.
is, it was a very hard upbringing for me with no individuality. It was all about conformity. You have to fit into a little box of this is what you have to do. You have to be straight and you have to marry somebody as soon as possible and look up to that man. And the men are the ones with the discernment to tell you what is right and what is wrong. And something just didn't feel right with me. A lot of growing up. And so I actually left and moved out of my parents' house when I was 17 as soon as I could just to get away from the situation.
Yeah, that's completely understandable. And it's just good to know that little bit of background because that can have a huge effect on your health and and what different issues you can have moving forward in your life because just the amount of control that happens and the lack of you being free to just be who you are and to be a free child. And I completely understand that. Yeah, because I mean even just growing up in my own childhood, I wasn't really involved in any cults per se, but well, I mean, religion can, some people view religion as a cult and it's very controlling and things like that. And my mum was quite controlling as well. And so I do understand how, even though I haven't experienced the extreme that you have, I can definitely understand how that affects health issues throughout your life and things like that. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I got vitiligo when I was really young. It was around 8, and I really think that my baptism into that church had a lot to do with it.
uh-huh.
Um, because that's about when it was triggered. And I do remember being a very stressed out child, very,
Yes.
very stressed. And then I later, a little bit after learning about the vitiligo, I learned about scoliosis,
Mhm.
which is the curvature of the spine, if you don't know,
Yeah.
which can
Sorry, can
also
we just
cause.
tell the audience what vitiligo is as well? Because some
Oh,
people might
yeah.
not be familiar with that.
Yeah, it is the pigment in my skin. I am
Uh-huh.
losing the pigment in my skin.
Right.
So I get white spots. You can't tell as much on my skin because I am so fair,
Uh-huh.
but the skin turns white.
Hmm.
And so they don't really know why. They think it's an autoimmune thing.
Mhm.
But stress can trigger it. I have seen a lot of things come out recently since 2020. A lot of people have been diagnosed with vitiligo in the recent years.
Awesome.
And I actually see it out a lot more in public. I just checked out at Walmart last night, and the guy who was checking me out also had vitiligo. So we got to talking about it. I use a narrow band UVB lamp now that really helps with bringing the pigment back in. But I've also feel like it helps my mood too.
Uh-huh.
I know they're talking a lot lately about like red light therapy and different kind of light therapies that you can do, but this narrow band UVB has really helped bring color back into my skin, but also just I think my overall health. I think it really does help.
Awesome. Okay, that's really
Yeah.
good to know. Yeah, for people out there, just for like general health as well. Amazing. Yeah. So is that like what the skin condition that Michael Jackson had?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. Yeah,
Yeah.
he got it he got his skin bleached so that all of it was the same color is
Right.
what I heard. I mean, I didn't know him personally, so
Yeah. But I
that's just what
suppose
I heard.
being in the limelight, he was probably, already so under so much pressure of his looks. And so, yeah, it's understandable that he would want to bleach his skin to so it's all looking the same instead of, yeah, having different spots and things like that. Wow. So that's great to hear that so it was the UV band light, did you say, has helped
Yeah, it's narrow band
narrow that?
UVB. It's different than just regular UVB or UVA rays. They're actually like the more healthy ones. So I only use it for a few minutes a day, and it will some if I use it too long, it'll really burn the vitiligo because the vitiligo doesn't tan. It will only burn. So you have
Right.
to be very careful and making sure that you don't use it too much and do the recommended dose by the dermatologist,
Yeah,
which
okay. And so is it just a like a light that you can buy yourself, like the red light therapy and things like that? Hmm.
yeah, you can do it either way. There's dermatologists who will give the treatment in their office,
Yeah.
but it is a lot cheaper to buy one and have it at home. I got really lucky. I worked for a dermatologist for some time,
Mhm.
and there was a patient there who was using the lamp, but he ended up not needing it anymore because he went on a medication for his psoriasis because this also works for psoriasis.
Awesome.
And so he gave me the lamp that
Oh,
I'm using
wow.
now, which is still working. That was like 15 years ago, and it still works great. So
Amazing.
if anybody's ever looking for one, Davalin is a great company that sell like handheld devices where you can just if you just have a little spots here and there that you want to treat, up to the full body stand up light that you can use.
Awesome. Well, that's
So they're
really,
very cool.
really helpful to know, definitely. And then so you had scoliosis as well, did you say? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. We found out about that when I was a teenager, and I went and saw a chiropractor a few times, but I'm learning now that that might not be the best option, which it's not just for me.
Mhm.
It can be good for some people, but I found out about other stuff that we'll talk about a little bit later that also kind of plays into that. So,
Yeah. So you're saying that there's not a whole lot that you remember about your childhood, just certain things. And I find that very interesting because often when we've had quite a traumatic childhood, we often block out and find it hard to remember certain parts because it's a lot. Well, that's just our coping mechanism, isn't it? That's just what is we get into that fight or flight mode and we just block things out just in order to survive and get through that time. So yeah, so you had several issues in childhood. Yeah, did you want
and
to?
I was supposed to pray about it more and read my scriptures more. It was more, I didn't really go to the doctor a whole lot. Like I said, I went to the chiropractor just a couple of times, but we didn't really have the money for it either. So basically my treatment was them telling me to read my scriptures and pray,
Yeah,
which doesn't really always help when you're in pain.
no,
So,
no. It's interesting, isn't it, how religion is very much kind of just leave it all up to God and it's all God's will. And I mean, and then I do get that to a certain point. I mean, I do believe on a spiritual level, there's so much that we can do, and then we need to kind of let go and let God. And I do believe in doing that. But I also think that when we have certain health issues and things that we're going through, you really need to put things into practice in order to help that. Like you can't just, it kind of reminds me of that little story about the guy who was like praying to God to help him, and like he's like it's flooding and he's on the roof of his house, and so he's like, God, please help me, please save me, and they send along a boat, and he's like, oh no, no, I'm waiting for God to save me. And then he keeps praying, come on, God, help me. And they sent along, I don't know, a helicopter or something. And there were several things. I can't quite remember it all right now, but basically and then he gets up to heaven because he dies. And he's like, God, you're supposed to help me. And he's like, I did. I sent you a boat, I sent you a helicopter. I was trying to help you. And, you weren't taking action. And so that kind of just goes to show that it's a good little analogy, because we do need to take action. We need to do what we can and help heal ourselves as much as we can. Yeah, so that's a little bit scary when parents do that, I think, when they just don't take kids to the doctor and yeah, and that kind of thing. So yeah, so
And
that
so
would
much to
be
what you were saying with the religion of, God helping you and you doing it on your own, like that's what we're here for, is to figure it out and learn those things on
absolutely.
our own and get ourselves through it. Like nobody is coming to save us. It's
Mhm.
not, Jesus is not going to come back and save everybody. We have to pick ourselves up and really do the work to get to a better place.
100%, because I mean, I truly believe that, our soul chose to come here, and our soul chose our family, different things that were going to happen in our lives, different health problems and health issues, because that's what our soul wanted to learn. And it's up to us to look into that and find out, okay, why do I have these certain health problems and these certain health issues? I would love to know, though, what kind of gave you the courage to leave? Because it's very hard when you've grown up in a family and everybody is all a part of it. So, I mean, for me, on a personal level, we kind of had this rule with our family. I've got an older brother, an older sister, and then myself and a younger sister, and we all had to go to church. But for some reason, my parent, or my dad mainly, he was just kind of like, look, just go to church until you're 12, and then when you're 12, then you can decide if you want to stop going. I don't know why 12 was the age, but literally, as each of us turned 12, we all stopped going to church because none of us wanted to be there. It's interesting, yeah. Like my dad's the only one in my family who still goes to church on a regular basis. But yeah, so I just find it really so I'd love to know, because you've got quite a big family. You've got quite a few
Mhm.
siblings. So and are you the only one that has left?
No, there have
Okay.
been two now who have really fully left. I've heard that two other ones are like kind of out. They call it PMO, physically in, mentally out.
Uh-huh.
Um, and so there's a couple of my siblings who are like that. As far as I know, I don't speak much to many of my siblings. I have seven of them
Mhm.
altogether. So there's four boys, four girls, and I have 24 nieces and nephews. So it is a very big family. And it was
Wow.
leaving, I didn't think would be as big of a deal as it was.
Okay.
I actually kind of got lucky. I moved in with my boyfriend at the time and his parents. They let me move in with them.
Wow.
And I worked full time. Like I was a little workaholic when I was a teenager so that I could get out of the house and do my own thing. So as soon as I could get a job at 14, I did, and I sacked groceries and I picked up carts at the grocery store and just worked really, really hard. And then I decided that yeah, I had to move out because I wasn't comfortable going to church anymore. I had been through what they call disciplinary councils back then,
Okay.
that because it's a very shameful thing to go through one of those two, because everybody can see if you're taking the sacrament or not. And if you are taking the sacrament, if you're not taking the sacrament, I mean, then everybody is looking at you and well, what did you do? And so then rumors start circulating through. So it's just a very shame and a fear-based religion.
Right.
And I just didn't want to live in fear and shame. And I still did for another good 10 to 15 years, I think,
Mhm.
just because it was so embedded and so ingrained in my head. But I knew, I just knew instinctively that I had to get out as soon as I could. There was different scenarios that brought me to that point, but I really thought that I would still have family there to have relationships with, and that wasn't the case. And so that was kind of shocking to my system, I think, in my 20s. But I kind of just partied and hung out with my friends all the time and found my own tribe and kind of suppressed all of that for a good decade, I'd say, of just not even worrying about it, just thinking, I'm not going to go to the highest level of heaven, and that's okay. That's just my life, and it is what it is. And now I know that that's just all, rubbish and
Ah.
not really, not really something that's going to be the case for me, and that's okay.
Mhm. Yeah, so they teach that there's different levels of heaven.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
three different levels of heaven, and then they call it outer darkness. So to go to the highest level of heaven, you have to marry inside the temple and get what they call them their endowments, and you got to get married to your husband that you're going to be with through all of eternity, and that's how you get to the highest level of heaven. And
Wow.
so yeah, I never made it to that point. I went to the temple once and I did something called baptisms for the dead, which is a whole nother rabbit hole and subject we could go down another
Wow.
time. Your eyes, I probably should have told you about on the pre-call, sorry. Um, it's it's wild. The temple is a whole nother subject that we could talk about for hours, but I
Wow.
never got to the point of going to the temple and getting married in the temple. And for that, I'm actually really grateful that I never got to that point and had made more oaths to the institution that I was raised in,
Uh-huh.
because that's
Because
basically what it is.
it probably would have been, do you think it would have been harder to leave if you had been married?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely, because they really push you to get married at 18, like as soon as possible, really. They don't say 18, but men are supposed to go on a mission and they go for 2 years. And then when they come back, they're really encouraged to get married right away. And girls weren't as encouraged when I was younger to go on missions. That has changed some now, and they do encourage girls, but you definitely go get married as soon as possible and start having babies as soon as possible. And I really think that that is to keep you invested in the culture and the religion,
Yeah.
because
Wow.
then you're in for life. You're married and you have all these kids, and what are you going to do? You're
Yeah, you're
usually a
stuck.
stay-at-home mom and you don't have a career. And that was another thing for me, I think. My job and my work ethic has always been really strong, and I've always wanted to do a lot of things. I had a lot of goals. I became a CNA when I was 18, and I really wanted to help other people. So I I really valued having a career, and that was not really something that you do
Yeah.
growing up where I was raised.
Because it would be all about the family and being a stay-at-home mum. And I totally
Hmm.
get that. I mean, I'm the same. I've always been like a hard worker too. I mean, I have had times when I have been a stay-at-home mum, and I'm very lucky that my partners were supportive of that at the time that I was with them. They both
Hmm.
were supportive of me staying at home with the girls while they were young. But once, they got to like, a little bit older and then I started working again, and I just think it's important. It kind of gives you that independence as well, and something outside of just being a mum, because even though being a mum is such a beautiful, special role, it's not always fulfilling for people, and it wasn't always fulfilling for me just doing just that. I didn't want to just be a housewife and just be a mum. I also wanted to have my own, because like you, I really always wanted to help people. And I was just saying to you off camera, it's I feel like it's interesting when you've had quite a traumatic childhood, you kind of go what either way, you kind of either just don't really want to care for anybody, or you either want to be a really, really caring person and a very motherly kind of person who wanted to help people. And so you ended up becoming a nurse, which is such a helpful, a beautiful role, isn't it? To helping people to get better.
It
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
Yeah, I really wanted to be an RN. That was my ultimate goal, which is why I
Uh-huh.
became a CNA first, thinking that would be my next step. And I still went into healthcare. I just took a different route of nursing because I didn't want to work the weekends and the holidays. So I went into healthcare
Sure.
administration instead, thinking that one day I would own my own nursing home and open up my own. I didn't even really want a nursing home. I want like a community where they live in houses on a street and we have a farm and there's more interaction than a nursing home provides. Because if you've ever been in a nursing home, it's not,
Yeah.
the funnest place to be.
No, no, definitely not. Wow. So that's beautiful. That's a beautiful vision. Do you still want that
Thank you.
to be able to?
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's morphed a little bit and I still have goals to help other people. I'm kind of working on some things right now to be able to provide more individual help to people with different things like going to doctor's appointments and just understanding the healthcare system because it is so complex here in the States. It is just it's too much sometimes.
Yeah. And especially for the elderly, it would just be
Hmm.
so confusing. And with updates and changes all the time, it can just be too overwhelming for them to keep up with, let alone everybody else.
Yes.
Yeah,
Hmm.
absolutely. Oh, that's so beautiful. And so you still do that now, and then you met your husband. Yeah,
Yeah, partner. I call him my husband because
yeah,
we've been together for so long.
yeah,
If Missouri recognized common law, we would be common law married. But
yeah.
um, we have two little girls who are our world.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
Yes.
And so, with some of the health issues you had, did that affect while you were pregnant and when you had your babies?
Yes. So it started, well, my first daughter, my friend would get so mad at me because I would call her a parasite. And she just would get so mad, and I would laugh about it because that is the definition of definition of a parasite is somebody that sucks, is sucking the life out of you. And she really did. I was exhausted. I had gestational diabetes, and I had to take a medication. I didn't have to do insulin with her, but I did end up having gestational diabetes again with my second, and had to take insulin shots with her. I had to take 6 a day. And so my second pregnancy was about 10 times worse than my first. And they were really, really hard. They're worth all of it. And I'm so glad they're here. But they were not easy pregnancies. I know that I couldn't do it again. My body probably wouldn't be able to handle it again.
Yeah, of course, of course. And what about like with the scoliosis with being pregnant? Is that quite challenging?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it was definitely a lot of pain. I did do a lot of chiropractor stuff with just like the rolling table. I didn't let them adjust me as much when I was pregnant, but I don't know if you've ever been to a chiropractor where they have the
Yes.
tables that you can lay on with the little roller that goes on your back. So that would help occasionally. But yeah, the pain really intensified after I had my second. So I actually have had pain really my whole adult life with the scoliosis and then also my SI joint. That is your sacral iliac joint. And that kind of holds the sciatic nerve there at the base of your spine. And I was told in my early 20s that I just have SI dysfunction. And some people just have that, and some people's SI joints move. And I always thought that that was odd. Um, Now I know since having Kelsey, I have another thing called hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which kind of ties into that SI joint dysfunction and the scoliosis from when I was a kid. A lot of times, having scoliosis can be a precursor to knowing about this.
Right.
But it is basically a genetic disorder that causes your joints to be more loose and for your joints to dislocate, which is why I'm wearing these gloves. It helps to keep everything kind of in place because they can dislocate, but they can also subluxate, which means that they just move out partially out of place. And this can happen with any joint. So my hands are kind of an issue because they're the one, you move them so much.
Yeah.
And then obviously my back has always been an issue down to my SI joint and then down my sciatic nerve down my leg. But I've also had knee problems, ankle problems. I've been to lots of different therapies, physical therapist's office, and do water therapy and all sorts of physical therapy that I've done. I could talk about that for a while too.
Wow. And just so for the audience as well, so the Ehlers-Danlos, so you were saying that there's like 13 different types?
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's what they have so far. They're doing a lot of work right now with Ehlers-Danlos. There is a college in South Carolina, might be North Carolina, that is doing a lot of work. But also in England, there is the Ehlers-Danlos Society that they do a lot of work also. And they're doing a lot of research now trying to find the gene. So with hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos, it is the only one that they have not found the gene for. They don't know what causes it. They just know it is a group of connective tissue disorders that just causes everything to be more elastic. So like my tendons, if you think of it like a rubber band, most of the time it's, very tight, but once that rubber band gets loose, it's kind of where my joints are and the tendons that hold my joints together, which is why they are easily subluxated.
Yeah.
So, but there's also vascular EDS or VEDS. There's classical Ehlers-Danlos, classical like Ehlers-Danlos. So mine is more on the, they would, I would say, easier side of the spectrum. That's not the right word I'm trying to think of. But vascular is obviously going to be more serious because it affects the vascular system and the veins more than anything else, while mine is more of the tendons in my joints.
Okay. Yeah. And so how does that affect exercise? Because like growing up, I mean, did you ever like were you ever really into sport? Did you ever do much exercise, or is it more you've kind of more come into it later in life? How did that work?
Yeah, I was never really big in exercise.
Mhm.
One of the problems I've learned that it causes is proprioception issues, and it can cause dysautonomia or POTS. I don't know if you've heard of that. That is
Oh, yes,
postural
I've heard of it.
orthostatic tachycardic syndrome.
Right.
And so it just can cause a lot of autonomic nervous system issues. Basically, that's another issue of it is the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. My body is always in fight or flight mode. It's
Wow.
never really stable. So exercise for me has always been a challenge. I remember almost passing out on a treadmill one time at Planet Fitness, so I was scared to go to the gym ever again.
Wow.
I really avoided exercise because I was afraid I was going to get lightheaded or faint, or there was just a lot of little things that would happen when I would exercise. So I would try to get the yoga videos from home, and nothing really ever seemed to work for me when it came to exercise until I found Fusion Body Studio.
Oh, well, that's awesome. Yeah. So tell us about that. Tell us about your journey with us.
I mean, it's been amazing. I have learned so much. I found you guys through Bryce, through Esoteric Atlanta, her YouTube channel,
Yeah.
and she had interviewed some cult survivors and stuff. And so that's how I first found her. And then I learned about the Law of One, which has also been really big in a lot of things for me just the past couple years. I got that on Audible, part one and two, so I could listen to it.
Yeah.
And I've really enjoyed just learning about the dojas and the tube of light coming through my body. So that's a really big thing too, is just having my spine straighter and the exercise with very little very little struggles compared to what I used to have. So now I can, so I actually started a program before you guys. I had been doing for a little while where I would do really small exercises and just focusing on like the TBA and the cervical flexors and getting my nervous system back into place.
Okay.
But your program has really like accelerated all of that and helped me sweat and helped me um, get that movement into my body more to where I'm not just doing these little exercises. I'm actually able to do the cardio and I'm actually able to do 40 minutes of straight exercise, which is not something I was able to do
Wow, that's
even just 2 years ago, really.
yeah. And so, and what do you think is different? Like, what has made the difference specifically, do you think?
I think it's really the fusion of it, the fusion
Hmm.
of knowing of the knowledge of that I did come here for a purpose. I'm
Hmm.
not here just, you know, when I left the cult, I really disconnected myself from God
Hmm.
or source or whatever you want to call it, just because I didn't subscribe to it ever. And so it was really hard for me to think of myself as connected to anything else. And so finding that connection again through the classes, not just the exercise that's there, but learning about the law of one and learning about the doshas and the chakras and trying to keep everything aligned. Um, has really made, I think, the biggest difference. And
Yeah.
loving myself. Like Bryce is always like, don't beat yourself up if you can only do this little bit at a time. I'm not beating myself up if I need to calm down for a minute and just walk in place
Yeah.
and do those little things instead of or she'll show you those three different levels of, this is how you want to do it if you're, the
Yes.
jumping jacks, for example, is one that she um, has shown to do an alternate way that has really helped me, I think, be able to still get through the exercise even if I'm not able to do it
Yeah, you can
to
just
her level.
do the modifications. Yeah, which
Yeah,
is
thank
fantastic.
you.
I love that she offers them in. And so yeah, so just going back, like I completely understand how you would just disconnect completely from God for a time. I also went through a similar stage. I think for me it was around when the Da Vinci Code came out. And I remember going to the movies with my friend and watching that, and I was just like, oh my God, this is fascinating. And like I knew it was a fictional movie and a fictional story, but I was just like, I also knew that there was some truth there, and that really intrigued me and fascinated me, especially learning more about Mary Magdalene, I think, because she's always been given such a bad rep. And it was fascinating to learn all of that. And so I understand the disconnection. And I also love that about Bryce's classes. I love how yeah, basically, that's why we changed it to Fusion Body Studio from the Esoteric Academy. Also to make it more friendly to people, because sometimes people can have a bit of, I guess, a negative kind of think of esoteric, it can be sound a little bit scary, I guess. I mean, it basically just means unknown knowledge and unknown kind of things, kind of like occult, but there's just kind of can be negative connotations towards those words. So, but
Yeah.
fusion really does describe it really well what we're offering, because we're trying to fuse together the importance of physical movement with spirituality. And I love that Bryce shares that. And when you're doing the classes, and she explains why you need to do the certain movements, and how it's helping your body and working through your body, and how it's important to activate those lower chakras and ground you. And spirituality is about being physically here on earth and being physically present. And I love that she teaches us that we've chosen these physical problems that we have, these physical issues and different health issues that we have, and they're a lesson to work through them, rather than kind of, it can be easy to get into a bit of a victim mentality and just think oh, poor me, and I've got these health issues, and my life's over. Whereas it's
Mhm.
more a lesson. And I mean, I believe that as well. Even before I started working with Bryce, I believe that we chose our family, we chose different challenges in our lives, and we came here um, to work on them and to learn different things. But I didn't really connect so much the health issues as much as what I have learned through Bryce. And yeah, it's very, very interesting. And I think you just, when you start to go there, you learn so much about yourself as well. And you do start to naturally have that connection back with God because, yeah, 100%, I do believe that God is real. He's just not what we've been taught. He's not just this guy sitting up in the sky judging us, you know? I don't believe that God is judges at all. I believe he completely loves us unconditionally. And we chose to, well, I believe along the lines that we chose to separate from God to have an experience and to be here and to learn from that. Because when we separate from unconditional love, then we're going to experience all kinds of things, including fear, which is just,
Right.
yeah, which is so
And
much.
if I would have looked at any of this 5 years ago, I probably would have said no because that was one of the things I was taught growing up is that there was a pre-existence and that we chose our life.
Uh,
And that always sat wrong with me because I had such a hard childhood and I have had pain my whole life. And so I was like, why would God do this to me? But
yeah.
now I look at it as it's my energy from the heaviness that I've been through that has kind of brought me to this much pain that I have been in. So
Mhm.
now I'm enjoying the pain from the workouts and being sore and embracing the pain as
Yes.
in it's teaching me things. And I just keep just keep
Yeah, we
telling
have.
myself that it is to learn and to grow from, and it's not to be ashamed of or um, hide or dissociate from. I need to accept it and deal with it and learn from it. And so really you and Bryce have shown me how to do that, like with the meditations and the quantum healing and the Ho'oponopono. When you started talking about that, I was so excited because I had just recently learned about that. And so
Yeah.
I try to do that in my life. There's a lot of things that have kind of lined up while you guys are teaching me. It'll come up somewhere else also. So it's
It's
very
like
synchronicity
confirmation.
of, yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Ho'oponopono. I discovered it years ago through Dr. Joe Vitale because he wrote a book about it. I mean,
Mhm.
there are other people that talk about it as well, but that's just how I found out about it. But Millie's just coming to say hello. And yeah, it's such a beautiful practice, just saying the prayer and just taking responsibility as well. I just believe it's so empowering because when you think, growing up in a church and a religion and you believe that, God is punishing you or you've been given these different health issues or health problems, and that I just find that so disempowering. But when you can say, no, I came here and I chose to have these challenges because that's just part of the game. It's like, when you go on a video game, it'd be pretty boring if it was just really cruisy and really easy. You add in these challenges to make the game more exciting and to learn and to grow. And you're not going to move up levels if everything's just easy. And that's why I believe that we chose different health problems and different health issues for us to do the work. And I agree 100%. I was never a big exercise person. Well, I was never really into sports very much at school. I'm not a very competitive person. So sports were kind of a bit boring for me. I did get really into exercise, but for the wrong reasons. I was right into going to the gym and going running and pushing myself a lot, but it was all for vain reasons because I felt pressured to look a certain way and be a certain size and all that kind of thing. I wasn't doing it out of love, whereas now I'm doing exercise out of love for myself because I want to be strong and healthy, and also learning more recently about how important it is as you're aging and growing older, and because you've got young kids as well, like we want to be there for our kids. We want to be healthy and strong and fit and be able to spend time with them. And I love that Bryce is like explaining to you that it's okay to feel the pain. It's okay to feel the burn. It's actually good when you're feeling the burn because you're burning karma. And when you're looking at it from that perspective, it actually just kind of makes it more fun and more enjoyable to do. Yeah, so I really love that. So is there anything else that you would really like to cover that we haven't gone through yet?
I just have to brag about you and Bryce so
Oh,
much about just the whole platform because I have I have confidence finally, like having the vitiligo when I was young and having the pain for forever. I haven't had that confidence in myself as much as I do just with knowing that I can do it, putting my mind to it and like having the confidence of just being able to strengthen my body. Um, Gaining that overall strength and just learning all of the ways to heal myself the right way without them trying to throw medication at me
yeah.
um, has been a godsend and a life changer for me. So it's been really great. It's a wonderful platform and I can't thank you all enough, really.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. And so do you feel like the exercise and the different movements and stuff, has that helped ease with the pain at all and help with any of your symptoms? Because I can imagine with all the kind of lots of health issues that you've had, like there would be a lot of symptoms and things like that.
Yes, yeah, the pain is always there. But I can tell a big difference. Like if I skip a day on the treadmill, because I don't do the exercises in the program every single day. I'll
Oh,
do the
yeah.
treadmill one day. I definitely rotate through because
Yes.
I did start doing them every day and I was having flares and then I wouldn't be able to do anything at all. So
Yeah.
I rotate now my exercises so that I can handle it all and just like when I'm feeling a lot of pain, the fiery exercises of strength is really good.
Uh-huh.
And then on the days where I'm not feeling so fiery or angry, the yoga classes are amazing and just being able to stretch everything. It really has helped. Like, for example, my butt. I feel like I actually have a butt now, which is something I never really had because my muscles were so non-existent. It's
Uh-huh.
another part of the connective tissue thing where the muscles are harder to build. And so it's been great watching my body change and like having that soreness, that pain after the workout
Uh-huh.
is a different kind of pain than I'm used to feeling, like that heaviness on my joints touching each other from the tendons not working right. So it's a different pain and it helps with the other pain, if that makes sense.
Yes. Yeah, it does. And you were saying that you've gone down quite a few dress sizes as well, which is absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Six altogether so far. So, and I just put on a pair of pants that were tight earlier just a few months ago that are super loose now. So it's very exciting.
Wow, that's amazing. And that
Mhm.
would just help improve your confidence so much and take a lot of pressure off your joints and things like that as well. So that's just so amazing. You should be so incredibly proud of yourself.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you. I am.
that's so amazing. Yeah, it's been so great talking to you and hearing about everything. And we're so glad that you love doing Fusion Body Studio. And we do encourage that as well. Like I think it's great that you are mixing it up and doing other things as well. We do encourage people to, we don't want them to just do our workouts all the time. We also encourage basically doing whatever, swimming and running and whatever, and then we've got different stretches and meditations and things like that to do afterwards. So yeah, and how do you find the post-workout meditations? Do you find
Oh,
them
they're great. They really do help. There are a lot of times I'll get done exercising and I'll just feel like almost like little like fireworks in my thighs and in my legs, and just laying there and letting my bone, like the muscles fall off the bone and just relaxing afterward. I
Mhm.
think it really has helped tie it all together and fuse it all. And it's just, it really, like, you really don't need any other programs except for the different classes you guys provide, because you provide so much. It really is great.
Yeah, we try and have a lot of variety, but I think what makes us so unique is just the spiritual aspect and just offering the reasons behind why you're doing the different exercises, why it's important and how it's affecting us on a spiritual level. And so yeah, it's so fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Larene, today and sharing your journey with us. And yeah, we definitely love to chat to you again when we can have Bryce join us as well. But thank you so much for your time and for sharing your story.
Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to share.
Aw, thank you. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. If you would like to learn more about Fusion Body Studio, we will share some information next. Thank you. Bye.
Are you ready to take your healing journey to the next level? At Fusion Body Studio, we believe that spirituality starts in the body and that exercise is the foundation of true spiritual growth and healing. We take the ancient spiritual teachings of the East and we fuse them with modern day movement classes so you can experience strength, balance, and transformation, all from the comfort of your own home. Right now, you can get access to a growing library of exercise classes, post-workout meditations, hypnotic recordings, and spiritual workshops. Everything you need to support your body, mind, and spirit. You can start your 7-day free trial today and enjoy 20% off your first 6 months with the code PAULA20 in capital letters. It's time to transform your body and empower your life with Fusion Body Studio, your online fitness boutique.